Thank you guys all very much. So today's class is all going to be on augmented reality. It's going to be a little bit more interactive than some of our other classes because we have some stuff to pass around and show. So we're going to be able to do some of it up on the screen, and then afterwards you guys will all be able to come, because you guys all see the coral reef over here in the corner, right? You don't have the right glasses on yet? Wait till you have the right glasses and you'll see the coral reef over here and you'll see Nemo swimming around and doing all this stuff. This is a class we decided to start teaching last year because it was getting too complicated to try and teach a virtual reality class and explain the difference in between virtual reality and augmented reality. And you guys have already, if you've been here for a couple of my classes, you guys already think you know all about virtual reality, right? Well, that's this. That's this right here, the black shoebox that you put on your face and you all become involved in that. That's not what this class is about today. This is not about being in virtual reality. This is about augmented reality. So augmented reality is the easy way to thinking about this. When you're in virtual reality, you've got the black shoebox, you've got this on your face, and you're bringing the world to you. So you're becoming immersed in something. Wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, everything's coming to you. Instead, with augmented reality, everything goes out. You add to the world around you. So just like I said, the coral reef that's over here right now, we get to go visit that and do that. Or if you're walking down the street and you need to be able to read a street sign, it's pretty easy to do here in Deerfield, but if I'm in Bangkok, it's a little bit harder for most of us. But I'm going to show you today how to make sure that you can pull that off as soon as you leave here today. So what is virtual reality? Virtual reality, again, is that chance to go experience. You're going to go and experience something. So if you guys haven't come into a library yet that's got the virtual reality, you've got it at Maine Library, the Pompano Library, Margate Library, Sunrise Library, all those places have that. And you can go in and experience virtual reality any way you want. So you can go in and go into Google Earth and go take that trip and go see exactly where you've been on vacation and where you want to go on vacation. Go up to the space station. We did that 2 weeks ago at BookFest. We put 300-something people on a rocket ship up to the space station, and they all got up to the space station and floated around in microgravity. And sure enough, most people actually thought they were really there because that feels like how it works. Now, when we're doing augmented reality, you're going to use a different set of glasses. This is the Magic Leap headset. We're going to talk about them in just a minute. Magic Leap's a local company that does this. And whenever you're doing this, it's something that you're going to put on a different type of glasses or headset. Maybe you're going to use the Microsoft HoloLens instead. And you're going to put this on. You can see the entire world around you. You can see everything that's happening around you at the same time as you're loading on more things. So just like you'll be able to see the floor, the walls, the piano, and you'll see the coral reef with the last time the fish were eating the piano. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for us right now. And partly, it's really cool, but you've heard me talk before about pricing. So virtual reality, you're talking about a $2,000 rig if you're going to go the high-end stuff like we have in the library. Augmented reality, I've got about $8,000, $9,000 worth of stuff sitting on the table up here. Yeah, not for the average person to buy and have at home yet. That's why we do this at the library. Each individual set, this is, like I said, the Microsoft HoloLens. This is about a $3,000 headset with limited use for most people. We're going to talk about battery life and stuff later on also, but about a 3-hour battery life. My life is much more involved than 3 hours. I think I can talk for 3 hours without even stopping. So it's not going to quite be right and ready for you, but there's a lot of other things you can do, and that's why I wanted to bring this up right here. Because this right here is called Google Translate. And you're not going to want to spend $3,000 to be able to do some of this basic stuff, but if you can do it on your phone right now, it makes it useful for you. So we're going to show you guys some stuff that you can do right now today on your phones to be able to pull this off. And we are going to try a new trick today where I'm going to pull out, plug in. Fun new cool device that I was able to pick up that allows me to share my phone up onto the big screen. Come on, you can do it. Come on, it's looking for the device. Looking for the device. It's waiting to detect the phone. There, come on, signal searching. Source. Yeah, it's trying. There we go, thank you very much. Okay, so this is Google Translate. You've probably done Google Translate on the computer at home or whatever like that, where you've typed in something or whatever. This, instead, when you use this on your phone, you have the ability to do, oh, I don't need to detect, I know what I'm doing. To pick up and change live as you're reading whatever you want into whatever language you need.
Wow.
So I was in Thailand walking around, and our guide was like, "Well, it's this street. Oh, don't worry, I got it." Like, what? I'm like, "Oh no, I've got this," and it was just magic, and it's insane. So let me show that one more time up here for you, really quick. And a quick quiz for you: why didn't the numbers change?
Because numbers are numbers.
Universal.
No, they're not. It's because we use Arabic numbers. If I was translating into Chinese or something like that, they would actually switch to Chinese numbers. Now let's flip back to the regular presentation. But now imagine doing that. And that works really well for you, huh? Come on. There we go. Source. HDMI. Bing. Just takes a second for the projector to remember which one we're doing.
It's looking.
Yeah. If you force it to take the HDMI.
There you go.
Thank you. So you guys all saw how that worked. Now, there is another function built into Google Translate that's also really well done for you. And that is live translation of voices. Let me bring it back up. And this is all augmented reality. And one of the reasons I bring this up and show it this way is because I want you to understand that we're augmenting, we're adding to reality, and it's not just visual. If I can do smell, if I can do sound, if I can do whatever, then that's going to change the world for you, and that's going to change how you perceive and look at the world. One of the things that we've talked about before in our virtual reality classes is, remember, this is all just electrical impulses going into your mind. You're just sending a sound to your ears, you're sending a taste to your tongue, etc. So what happens if I can now send a taste to your ears? What does chocolate sound like? We all are like, that's really weird. There's kids in elementary school that are going to grow up not knowing that you can't mix these things and make them into new movies and make them into whatever they're going to call experiences, because it's not going to be a movie. So I'm going to do this as a voice transaction. And now I want to do voice. And now I'm saying hello. Does not like my hello, how are you today? And it's not saying it out loud. You could see it on my screen. I'm not going to switch back and forth. But it automatically translated it for me that way. You can also do this by conversation so that you can speak in whoever else's language you're using. We're doing this at libraries right now with tablets with Google Translate installed on it. So I can just sit here and say conversation, and I can go to speak in Spanish into the microphone, it spits it out in Russian for me, and we can do a story time at main library in Russian, even though I'm using a Spanish speaker giving the class.
Wow.
Yeah. We all live in the future, it's just not evenly distributed. So, what is a HUD? Anyone take a good guess? HUD. HUD? They don't exist anymore, I don't think.
Housing and urban development.
Yeah, no. So heads-up displays. So the same things that are in movies and fighter jets and stuff like that. They've been there in fighter jets, being able to throw things up onto the cockpit windshield and stuff like that. Some fancy automobiles I can't afford to drive. They all have that there to go up onto the screen as you're driving. The problem is these are mediated reality. I've shown the video here before of the bus benches where it's, you can see the tigers and everything walking around. The idea here is that it's mediated because it just shows you whatever is already programmed to show. It's not augmented reality, because if it was augmented reality, we could look at it, it would show you your directions, and it would say turn right at the next road, and instead, because it's just mediated reality showing you a basic thing, it's going to drive you right off the bridge that's fallen apart. So when we're doing augmented reality, it has to actually react to the world around you. It has to actually know what's going on around you to do that. So we're going to do all these different types of wearables, and most of them are going to be these visors like this. This Microsoft HoloLens was the first commercially available set. This came out back in 2016, and this has been a decent success for Microsoft. Like I said, about $3,000. It's very useful for doing things along the lines of medical and engineering. I worked with Disney 2 years ago for them to start working out how they're going to use these things so that when you open up a ride and you can see what it actually looks like, but you can see with this the overlay of what's supposed to be in there. So you can see that that yellow wire is not supposed to be cut in half there, or that blue one is the one that really connects to the hydraulics or whatever and stuff like that. So those sorts of things work really well for people. We're also doing some of this with your new tax dollars here in Broward County. You guys all voted for the transportation tax last year, and then as that project starts to roll along, we're going to be adding in augmented reality sites around the county where you can come in, put on one of these headsets, and see how your planning is going, what a new bus bench actually looks like, what a new bus stop looks like when the ramp is built into the bus stop and not into the bus, so that the bus is on the same level. Or when you can see what the new traffic patterns are going to be, you'll be able to come into a library or a government center, put these on and try it out. HoloLens 2, it just came out. It was commercially available or for pre-order in August. We have ours on order. We're waiting for county purchasing and Microsoft to get together to let me have one. You can see how badly these things get beat up when 10,000 people use them over a couple of years. But excuse me. So the HoloLens 2 is coming out, and as I said, it's very similar to what HoloLens 1 is, except that the visor flips up. So that if you need to, you can just go up or down on the visor if you need to take away the visor to look at things. It's a very nice look. Magic Leap has the goggles. This is Magic Leap. Does anybody here know who Magic Leap is? No? Okay, a couple of people. Okay, good. So this is the Magic Leap 1 headset. It does augmented reality. The reason you want to know about Magic Leap is they're a local company out of Plantation. If you hadn't heard about them before, they are somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 to $4 billion company. They have the old Motorola plant down at University and Sunrise. And so they're building this. So Broward County is actually like the center of augmented reality and rebuilding and doing things. They're a slightly controversial company, mostly because people overpromise or over-anticipate what they can actually do. They're okay. One of the key differences in between the two headsets is HoloLens just fits right over your head, and Magic Leap requires you to take your glasses off and use contacts. Or $3,500, and then you can pay them another $250 for an insert for your glasses. Ah, yay! And then you can have them reject it because they don't like your prescription. But we do some great development and stuff like that on these. And in case you haven't had a chance to really play with them, anybody here actually used one of these before? No, really? That's why I'm here. We're going to take a look at the coral reef when we're done. When I'm done talking, we've got a plan, so we spend some time and mess around with these devices and get a chance to look and try these things out. Eyeglasses. You may have heard me talk last time about when voice assistants, and we talked about how there's Alexa-enabled glasses that you can do some things with. So are eyeglasses actually augmented reality? Well, it depends. If you're talking about Google Glass is a device that came out back in 2015, and it made a big splash in the tech world, and then it kind of disappeared because everybody made fun of it or trashed it, and Google was like, well, yeah, we know who's going to actually buy these, and they kept on selling them, and they're really useful in warehouses now. Google Glass looks just like a regular set of eyeglasses with a little computer screen right here, and it looks like you're looking out at about a 50-inch screen as you're walking around out there to go see things. Used really well in enterprise, because if I can, again, see blueprints, see things like that. The military has some hardened versions, and there's also one for police and fire, because if you're a firefighter and you can get a building plan and you can see exactly where those doors and walls are supposed to be already laid out for you, that's really nice. Or if you're in the military and they've got the hardened thing. North is a company that you guys have definitely not heard of. And they make eyeglasses with built-in computer screen, no extra thing. It's just right there in the frames, and it's right there to be able to take things. They feed, instead of feeding it off of a device like these two do, they feed off of your phone. However, North is only available by invite if you go to the New York store and have them specially fit you and then come back after they've made your glasses for you. Not a big mass market opportunity. So it's okay, but they're not really augmented reality because they're taking whatever information you've got on your phone and just adding it to it for the most part. Contact lenses. I know, you're like, yeah, Bob, now we're into science fiction stuff. Well, here, so imagine if you could put in a contact lens and it could check your blood sugar because your blood's flowing right there, and then it could call 911 if you go into diabetic shock. Or it can send a report back to your doctor and let you know what your sugar levels are and how your diabetes is doing. And that's a really great, cool idea. And Google figured it out. They've been in FDA testing for over 3 years. And they're powered by blinking.
By who?
Blinking. All you have to do is blink and it helps repower it. It's amazing. It's insane. And they've dropped it and they stopped it earlier this year. Not because they don't work.
They couldn't make a profit on it.
There you go. They couldn't make a profit on them. How do you sell ads? Because that's what Google does. How do you sell ads on contact lenses? I don't want to see that. And effectively, Google just dropped the project because they could not make it cost effective to do. They proved it works, but they couldn't make it cost effective to be able to pull it off and make that happen and start producing them for people. Again, we live in the future. Not everybody gets to participate. So, phone-based AR is the most common way you're going to do it. Now, this is the way you're going to start looking at the world, because you're going to just hold your phone up. Not a great idea, I know. I would much rather have a headset on with regular glasses than look at the world through a 2x4 window. But this is the way things are pretty much going, and this is what your guys are going to be able to use today, right now. So this is how the world will start looking at us, as you start holding up a phone and looking at it, and you can go around. Anyone here use Google Maps?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you've done directions on your Google Maps?
Yeah.
You can now, there's an augmented reality version of Google Maps that will put a green arrow out there for you to follow as you're walking along to tell you where to go. It only works in a couple of cities, New York, San Francisco, stuff like that. But they're building it out slowly but surely. And they already found, just in their first month of testing earlier this year, that they had to put in a put your phone down message. because people were walking right along and going, yes, and I'm going to go do this, and clunk. So there is actually a thing there on the phone now that, yes, put the phone down and look at the real world around you and then go back up. Yeah.
People are getting ticketed for doing that in some cities.
Some places. There are some places that have put in special sidewalks just for people with phones. Have special lanes just so people can walk and not get avoided. A city in Europe, I want to say Brussels, just put in padding on street signs. Because so many people were bumping into the street signs. They put little bumpers and pads around it. So here's how you do this right now. You can do this on your own phone if you have iOS 11 or higher. So that means you need to have the 6S or higher. And if you've got that phone or better on software, you're good to go. If you're on Android, then you need to have the Android 7. So if you've got a Samsung 7 or higher, you'll be able to do it. I'm going to show you another example here in just a second of one. It's ARKit. ARKit is the iOS version of augmented reality stuff, and AR Core is the augmented version for Android. It may feel like I should go to the store and just be able to download this and use it. You can't. You actually have to have an app that uses augmented reality for your phone to go get the stuff that it needs if you don't already have it installed on there. And so, as an example, we will pull up an easy app that you could use to do this, to get something to do one of the measuring apps. You'll go to your app store and you're going to, or the Play Store, and you're going to go look for a measurement. And it allows you to use your phone just to go measure from here to here. You can measure the table size, you can do anything you want to do. It's a nice handy little thing I do every once in a while. And that's how you can make sure that you get that involved on your phone. We are going to swap out again on the screen for you so that you can see what I'm doing.
Do you understand that? Okay.
Question?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Barry. Come on. Should we do an HDMI now? It says HDMI connected. Awesome. Okay, so we're in our Google search, and if you have your ARC Core or ARC Kit, if you're on iOS, I'm on Android, so it's ARC Core, then I can just go right there to my Wolf, and I can do this. Now, if you have this installed, you'll have this really nice 3D image on certain animals. There's a handful of them out there: giraffe, turtle, shark, elephant, wolf. There's a sea turtle we could have floating around in here. So it's really cool. Isn't that really nice? But let's do it in the floor. Let's see what a real wolf looks like. And you can see just how tall a wolf really is. This is not some little, nice little Hansel and Gretel creature. This is a, yeah. As you can go out there and do that. Let's flip back over to our presentation now. So that's available to you right now. Anyone can use that anywhere. And that's on your device just by going to, once the ARC Core or ARC Core or ARC Kit is installed on your phone, you'll automatically be able to use it for all of the other things, like doing a Google search or whatever.
Are you saying R, like the letter R?
A-AR Core, yeah, it's coming up as soon as we get back to the screen.
Okay.
We'll get back up there. Oh, we're in corner adjustments.
Yeah, I got it.
A-R-K-I-T.
There you go.
Yeah, A-R-K-I-T or A-R-C-O-R-E.
You push it back in.
Did the capitals matter?
No,
What is it? A-R?
branding, that's all. Searching. Next time, we're going to put two cables. Put two different cables and just swap back and forth that way on the source instead of having to search for this. So we're going to bring this back up on the screen so that you see exactly what I was talking about with those names. And that will work for you. Mine's working.
Okay.
This is a
Working
searching.
a second ago.
Yeah.
See if I can force it out.
And so between those, there is,
Yeah.
no,
Doesn't want to
you're
do
back to
that.
the corner. That's okay.
Just keep trying.
Yeah, we'll just keep on going. So the idea here is that you get to do what you want with these things. This augmented reality portion of using your phone is going to give you that taste of what you can start to do with. So you can do those things like the measurements. So instead of having to pull out your measuring tape, you can now use your phone to measure things. You can now see things live like this. As weird as it seems, I was down at a funeral in Puerto Rico back in October, and we've got kids and they're there for 8 hours. And so I started messing around and showing them some things to do some stuff with. And pretty soon we had sharks swimming through the waiting room of the funeral home. And the kids all had a blast. And then when the parents figured out what the kids were doing, they started coming out to figure out how to do it. And we actually got them to do a handful of things. It just does not like that, huh?
Maybe you can press a key or something.
Yeah, no. We're good to go here. The good thing is we're already over halfway through the presentation. Because I've just got some just does not like that. Okay, well, I'm just going to be talking about it, and if it pops up on the screen, awesome, great. So right now we're going to talk about what companies can you actually do things with, who's working on this stuff so that you can use it and do it. We've got Microsoft. Microsoft is probably the primary person doing any kind of augmented reality gear right now. Between HoloLens 1, HoloLens 2, and they are working very much with enterprise, which is why you don't see this like, oh, it's coming to Best Buy soon, because you have to buy it from Microsoft directly. And their goal is to make it so that you can use this in warehousing, or use this in medical, or use this whatever. Imagine going to a warehouse and just having to put one of these headsets on, and you just tell your clerks, go pick up the yellow boxes. And the correct boxes glow yellow for the ones that they need to pick up for that order. You don't even need to know where you're going. You can go do this. I am waiting to get this at the library. Go pick up the books that are on hold. They're glowing orange. And you can just walk up and down the shelves, pick the orange ones, bing, 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 done. It'll be awesome. It'll be great. Give me a couple of years. It takes time. We will make it all happen. So Microsoft is doing some stuff like that for people and doing those sorts of things. And we already mentioned military and fire. The other thing is Magic Leap. And Magic Leap as a company is trying to do this at a consumer level as a creator. And the key difference there is that as a creator, they are trying to come up with a way, Magic Leap here, for you to be able to do your stuff and be creative like artists, etc. And they're really focusing on the idea of what will you use this on a regular basis for? What would you use this on a day-to-day basis? Unfortunately, it's $3,500. Not everybody wants to use it on a regular, everyday basis, and battery life. So, we already mentioned HoloLens both and Magic Leap. These both run on battery, and so your